Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Luisa. How's everybody doing? Look what I have. I received the Bargain Bee box for November, but I'm not going to open it just yet. I'm going to wait. Today's video is going to be a tutorial on a necklace that I made using the Bargain Bee box beads from October. And if you don't subscribe to Bargain Bee box, that's okay. You can still watch the tutorial because I'm going to be using different kinds of beads. And if you do subscribe to Bargain Bee box, you can totally do this necklace. I'm going to be going over the original design, so you're going to get to see that. I know a lot of us had some trouble with the colors from last month because they were a little bit unconventional. So today I'm going to use slightly different colors. We're going to look at the color wheel and we're going to decide what colors. I'm going to take you through the whole process. I'm going to take you through the process of selecting the colors, selecting the beads, and putting it all together. So I hope you enjoy today's video. Let's go ahead, turn the camera around, and we'll dive right in. Okay, so here's the necklace. It's very beautiful. I love the colors. I really do. But many of us had trouble initially. I know initially I had a lot of trouble with these colors because I wasn't used to this combination. I just wasn't used to having the blue and the green and the orange all in one. And many designers, what they did is that they stuck to one or two colors. They didn't use all three. But I felt adventurous and I went ahead and created this necklace, and I think it turned out okay. But you know, when I first received the beads, I pulled out my color wheel because I wanted to see why Bargain Bead Box chose these colors. And I think the reason we had so much trouble is because when you look at the wheel, you have combinations that are supposed to be complementary, and when I turn the arrows to the colors that are supposed to complement each other, none of it really matched except for maybe the orange and the blue. So the orange and the blue, like if I take my wheel and I put this arrow on the orange, right across is blue. So that worked out okay, but then where does the green fall? Okay, the green is way over here. So if you look at the wheel, there are different arrangements. There's one that has three colors, and these are equal distance from each other. This is called a triad. And I believe this one's called a split complementary. So you have the main color here, and then you have these two complementary colors. The black arrows, these are complementary colors across from each other, and it's two colors. Okay. Then you have, I believe this is a tetrad where you have four colors, and they're not necessarily equal distance from each other, but that's what this one is called. And then you have the square, and the square is definitely, you know, equal distance from each other. So you don't have to use this religiously because, you know, sometimes it's just better to eyeball something. But if you're not sure about colors, it's a good idea to check the color wheel to see how they look and whether or not they complement each other. And so anyway, when I got this combination of colors, the first thing I did is I pulled out the color wheel, and I could see that the orange and blue were complementary, but the green did not really fit. So then I thought, okay, maybe it's a triad or a triad. So then I thought, okay, let me put the main arrow here on the, let's go for the orange. And it's this kind of orange. So the other two are not really the same as what we have here. So we have green, that could be it, but the green they gave us was this green. It wasn't this green. Okay, so there's a difference. This is a yellow green and this is a blue green. So we have the orange, that's this one right here, but we don't have the correct green, and we definitely don't have the blue. And then the other color in the triad is this violet color, which we don't have. So that's what was throwing me off, and I think it threw a lot of people off. Maybe they didn't realize it consciously, but subconsciously, when they looked at this combination, it just didn't seem harmonious, and so they couldn't work with it. And I think that's what happened to all of us, including myself initially, until I developed some courage, and then I decided to use all of the colors in this design, and it turned out okay. So the other thing that you have to watch out for when you're working with colors is the value of each color. So you have some colors that are very intense or very dark within each category, and then you have some others that are lighter. Okay, these are the different values of the colors within each group of colors. So that's another thing you have to watch out for. And generally speaking, if you stick to the same value, you're going to have better luck and it's going to be more harmonious than if you don't. But that's not a set rule, okay? It really isn't. But anyway, I wanted to show you this just to try to put some reason into why some of us had trouble with all of these colors. And it doesn't mean you can't do it. It really doesn't. It just means that it's going to be a little bit more difficult, and you just have to let creativity take over and try not to let anything else get in the way of you creating a piece. So today I'm going to use this color wheel, and I'm going to duplicate this design, but I'm going to use the colors that I think are going to be a little bit easier to look at. So I want to use this orange. But then I'm going to use this kind of green, and I'm going to use a violet. Okay, I'm going to use these three colors in my design, and I think it's going to be a little bit more harmonious. I would say, I'm not going to say more attractive than this one, but maybe more harmonious, or something that makes more sense visually. And again, it's not something that's conscious. It could be subconsciously. Your mind looks at something and thinks it's more aesthetically pleasing for whatever reason. And usually it's because of the color combination or something like that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look for some beads that are orange, green, this kind of green, and this violet over here. So let me go ahead and get some beads, and I'll be right back. Okay, I found some strands, and these are from the Potomac beads for October. And they're called ingot beads, and they're in a very pretty violet color. So I thought I would try using some of these. I'm not sure if I use very many of them, but here's my orange, here's my green, and then I saw these leaves. These are from Beadbox Bargains, and these are, it's not the yellow green, it's the other green. So I think these would look really well with this green. Okay, so I'm going to use some of those. And then I also found this strand of violet rondelles that I got on Beadbox Bargains as well. And I'm going to try to incorporate that into the design. And I have these beads that I just kind of threw in here. They're mainly gray. There's some orange, but there are a couple of purple ones in here that I think are going to look pretty good. So this one right here has that violet color, the same as the ingot actually. It looks like very similar. So I think I'm going to use that bead, and I think I have a couple in here. There's another one, and let's see if there's any others in here. I think there's maybe one more. I have 4 there, so I don't know if I'll use all of them, but I'll pull them out and figure out what to do. And then I saw this other strand of gemstones that I got from Beadbox Bargains, and these are 8mm crackle agate beads, so I definitely want to use those. And then I also found this strand of rondelles, electroplated, and the color is amethyst vitriol. So there's some purple, there's some green, as you can see, and I think these are going to look really well with this combination. Just by eyeballing what I have right in front of me, it's going to add some sparkle and a little bit of interest. So I'm going to throw those in, and I think that's pretty much it. I do have the leaves and the silver spacer beads. I bought these on Beadbox Bargains as well. So as you can see, just by looking at this combination of beads, I don't know if you guys can tell already, to me, it's aesthetically pleasing, okay? And I think it's going to look really, really nice. There is one more that I wanted to try to incorporate, and it's this bead here. These are very interesting, and I have no idea where I got these. I got these a long time ago, and they've just been sitting in storage. But look how interesting these are. They're so pretty, and they're definitely orange. So yeah, I want to use these focals somehow. I got to figure out. It's not going to be exactly, the necklace won't be exactly like the one that I made, that I showed you earlier. It's not going to be like this exactly, but the design is going to be pretty much the same. It's just that I'm going to be using slightly different beads. And I wanted to show you this because I know many of you don't subscribe to Bargain Bead Box. And so I don't want you to feel like, oh, you can't do this necklace because you don't have the beads. So I wanted to show you how to do it using other beads and different kinds of beads. But these three colors I think are aesthetically pleasing. I like what I'm seeing so far. And when I look at the color wheel, here's my green. Okay, there's the arrow. So it's pretty similar. Okay, here's my orange, as you can see. And here's my violet right there. Okay, now it's not exactly the same because the lighting is different, but you can see the violet inside these beads. And definitely, if I turn these beads and you can see the light hitting it, you can see that it's the same violet, the same family as this group right here. Okay, so now that I have my beads, now I have to decide how to place them, how to incorporate them into the dangles and everything. So let me go ahead and get rid of some of these strands and we'll get started. All right, so I think I'm going to start with these two beautiful, I think they're lampwork beads. And then I'm going to use these, which I really, really like. They're very interesting. And I'm going to place them very similar to how I placed, you know, the beads in the other necklace. Kind of like this. So these are the big ones. These go in the middle. Okay. And in the original design, I had a leaf coming down here, but I'm going to use this tiny one this time. That's the green, okay? And here are these beautiful electroplated beads. I definitely want to use these, and I think I'm going to maybe place them somewhere in this vicinity, okay? And then I also want to use the leaf beads. So I'm going to put one above this one and one above this one. Very similar to how I built the other necklace. Okay, now in the other necklace I had green. So here's my strand of 4mm round beads, Czech beads. And I'm going to place one here and one here. And then right here, I'm going to use one of the crackle agate beads. And I want it to be nice and bright. As you can see, there are variations in the color. Some are brighter and some are paler. This one looks pretty bright, so I'm going to put that one there. Okay. Something like this. Okay, now this green is this is a really pretty green. I really like this green. And I want to definitely incorporate green. So I'm going to put one here and one here. And maybe some more further up the strand. All right, so I think I need more orange, so I'm going to place an orange one there and another one here. And then I do want to use this beautiful violet rondelle. I just love this one. It's so pretty. It's a little bit dark, but it's very pretty and it looks beautiful outside. So maybe I'll put a violet one there and a violet one here. They're a little bit on the small side. And maybe another one there and another one there. Something like that. And I was going to use these, but I'm not sure if I will now because I really don't have a place for them. So I think I'm going to skip on this one. I'm not going to use it. I do want to use these silver spacer beads. So I think I'm going to place one here. and one here. And I feel like I need more orange somewhere, and I found these beautiful 4mm Czech rounds. I love these, they sparkle so much. So I think I'm going to place the one here and one here. Something like that. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. And I'm going to go ahead and start assembling, because I think this looks really nice. I like how the colors are evenly spaced out. There's a lot of variation though. We have these beautiful lampwork beads, and then we have these, which are very, very interesting to me. And we have the electroplated and the leaf bead and the metal leaf beads. So this looks really, really nice. So we're going to go ahead and start assembling and see where it takes us, because, you know, a lot of times you don't really know until you put it together how it's going to look. So I'm going to go ahead and get some eye pins, and I'll be right back. Okay, let's get busy. I'm going to go ahead and assemble the bottom strand, not the dangles, just the strand part. And I have some pliers here. And I also have my one-step looper. This is the one that has the 2.25mm loop, okay? And I believe that's the inner loop size, okay? You can always do them manually. You do not have to use the looper, of course. I like to use it because it saves my hands and it's a lot quicker. And I have a bunch of head pins here. They're very long, and I got them on Panda Haul, very cheap. And so what I do is I take them and I snip off the head of the head pin, and I form an eye pin out of each one. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and thread on this big lampwork bead, and I'm going to form my loop at the other end. And if you've never used one of these before, you just simply put your pin through the hole in the back, hold it like this up against the jaws, give it a squeeze, and then bend it away from the jaws so you don't shatter your bead, and squeeze it closed, just like that. Okay, and it automatically cuts your wire for you. You do have to straighten your loops out though, okay? That's important, but it's very quick and I love using it for that reason. Okay, so now we're going to do the other one. Same thing. And these are pretty strong head pins, so that's why I'm doing simple loops. I'm not doing wrap loops. Okay, and then do the loop at the other end of the bead. Just like that. Straighten them out so they're facing the same direction. And I'm going to join them with a jump ring, and it's a tiny jump ring. I believe these are 4mm jump rings. They're not very big at all. Okay, just like this, very simple. And then you do want to make sure that you close your loop, your jump ring, excuse me, very, very well. Okay, and you want to make sure that the loops are closed as well. Okay, the loops on the pins. You can give the loop a little squeeze to make sure it's closed. Okay, all right, so that's the bottom of the necklace. Moving right along, I'm going to go ahead and assemble this one here. Like I said, you do have to be careful because you don't want to shatter your bead. Okay, so you need to bend it away from the jaws. Sometimes I don't close it entirely if I think the bead's going to shatter. I use my crimping tool to close them, just to be on the safe side. I've shattered many beads, that's why I'm telling you this. So that's this side, and if your pins are bent, don't panic. You can straighten them out pretty easily using some nylon coated pliers. Okay. See how this one's open? That's where you come in with a crimping tool and gently close it. And again, I'm going to use a jump ring to join the two, this bead and this bead. Okay, so the other thing that the jump rings are going to be used for is to hang the dangles. So that's that side. This is a very quick and easy project, guys, and that's why I like to do these videos, because it's easy on me and it's good for the beginners. So if you're an advanced beader, you're probably bored by now, but you always have the option to navigate away from the video. All right, so we have this piece done. Now these pieces, I don't always throw them away. You know, I keep them because I can use them for other things, you know, some smaller beads. So I'm going to put them off to the side. And now I'm going to go ahead and assemble the agate beads, the crackle agate beads. One on that side. So if you're using the one-step looper and it's not cutting your wire very well, it could be that the wire is too thin. It needs to be a certain gauge. And when it's really thin gauge, I usually like to do wrap loops. Let's go ahead and link them with a jump ring. This one and this one. Okay, and now we'll do the other side. So that's what we have so far. Okay. And now I have to decide how I'm going to do this. Should I put a green one there? I think I'm going to put a green one there and a green one there to add some color up there, so a different kind of color. So for that, since they're tiny, I will use one of these scraps. So there's one loop at one end. Okay, and now we'll do a loop at the other end. Okay, line up your loops and make sure they're closed. That's going to go there, and now we're going to do one for the other side. So this is what we have so far. Now I'm not going to hang a dangle here, so I'm just going to go ahead and attach it to this loop. Just like that. Okay, that's that side, and now this side. So that's what we have so far. Okay. And now I feel like I need to add a violet bead at this end. So I'm going to go ahead and get another pin or a scrap and do my loop. And you can actually use pretty small scraps. They don't have to be very long at all. Okay. Do another one. That's for this side. And now we're going to do one for this side. And once again, I'm just going to go ahead and attach it directly to this loop without a jump ring. Same thing on this side. All right, so this is what we have so far. Pretty nice. And I do want to end with one of these beads, but I think I'm going to do a wrap loop for these. One on this side and one on this side, like that. So let me go ahead and get some 22 gauge wire. This is by Beadsmith, as you can see, and it's 22 gauge and it's tarnish resistant. I don't need very much. So you're just going to grab it like this, bend it, flip your pliers around, chomp down like this, and then wrap the end of the wire around that jaw, flip your pliers around again and continue wrapping towards the back like this. So this is what you should have. Grab it with a set of pliers and then grab another set of pliers, and you're going to wrap that tail around your pin a couple of times. I don't like too many wraps. 2 to 3 is enough. And then you do want to tuck in whatever sharp end is sticking out. Okay, you want to make sure that there's nothing sticking out. Okay, and then once you have that done, you're going to insert thread on your bead and form your loop, but I'm not going to close it because I'm going to attach it directly to the chain. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to form the loop and leave it open. I'll show you in just a second what I'm talking about. Just like this. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for now because I don't want to close it yet. I want to attach the chain to that so I don't have to use a jump ring. But I can attach this loop to this bead here. So we'll go ahead and open it up and attach it like this and close it up. Okay, so this is what we have, and this is ready to receive the chain. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So that's what we have. I'm going to snip off this little kink here. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so now that we have the necklace, the main strand of the necklace, now we're going to go ahead and form the dangles, and we're going to start with the middle. And like I said earlier, I'm going to place this one here. So let's go ahead and get this one set up. Just like that. So it's going to go right here, and below that is this agate bead. So let's go ahead and connect it since we're on a roll here. So we'll take this one and open up the loop. And we're going to insert the loop into this jump ring like this. Okay, and then close it up. Just like that. Then this one connects right there. Okay, so far so good. And now we need the leaf. Now this one's a little bit more complicated because the hole goes across the top of the bead like this. Okay, so we're going to have to do a bit of a wrap. So 22 gauge wire, snip off a piece, and you're going to insert it through the hole just like this, bend it upward so that it kind of crosses at the top. Let me just show you real quick. Like this, okay? And then you're going to get your pliers and you're going to kink it at the very, very top where it connects right there at the corner, at the top end of this V shape. You're going to kink it upward, just like that. And then this one is going to go that way. Okay, so then you can grab it just like this and do a couple of wraps. Maybe 1.5, not too many, because we're going to add some more wraps in a few seconds here. Tuck it in, make sure there's nothing sticking out. Okay, and then just like before, grab the top end, give it a kink, and do a wrap loop. Just like that. Pretty simple. Okay. Snip off the excess and tuck in anything that's sticking out. Now have a look at your dangle because you want to make sure that it's hanging properly. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to turn this loop so that it's pointing upward, so that it's not parallel to the board. It should be vertical because we want to make sure that the leaf hangs properly. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So this loop's going to be parallel, this one right here, but this one is going to be turned at a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to grab it, I'm going to hold on to this one, and I'm going to turn this one so that it's perpendicular. Can you guys see that? Okay, so now when I hang my dangle, my leaf, it should hang properly. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here you can see this loop is vertical, this one is horizontal. Okay, so this one, this top loop here, let me just use a pin. Maybe you can see better if I point with a pin. This loop here is parallel to the board. This one is vertical. This one is not parallel. The loop of the dangle is parallel. So this is what you want. Okay, that way when you have it on, you won't be fighting with it constantly. You need to pay attention to how the loops drape and how they hang. Okay. All right, so that one is done. So now we're going to do dangles that are going to come off these two jump rings here. And for that, I'm going to use, like I said earlier, this bead here. I want to place the metal bead above it because I don't want it dangling down. I want something green to dangle down, or orange. I think I said green. So this green bead, or maybe this orange bead, I can't remember. I got to think about this now. I believe I said green. Something like that. Okay, on this side. And then on this side, we're going to have the leaf, the electroplated bead, and this green bead here. All right, so let's go ahead and get some pins for that. This is a pretty tiny one, but I think I can use it. I don't want to waste it. I'll do one loop there. Let me insert the leaf. Okay, let's see if we can do a loop at the other end. Now this one I can hold pretty close to the jaw because it's not glass. I'm not too scared that, you know, it's going to shatter on me. And then bend it. You still need to be careful, okay, because those jaws are pretty strong and they can bend metal. All right, so we have that one assembled. It's going to go there. This one's going to go here. Okay. And now we're going to assemble these two beads. I'll go ahead and use a pin for that. A head pin. And if you haven't seen any of my other videos, you'll understand why I use head pins. I got a huge bag from Panda Hall over a year ago, and it's taken me that long to get through it. And it's all head pins, and it's much more economical for me to use head pins and take the head off and form eye pins out of them than it is for me to just buy eye pins already formed. So I've been doing that for a while, and it's turned out to be a great deal for me to buy the big bag of head pins. So that one's going to go there. And they're not perfect, as you can see, but what I like about these is that I've had them for quite some time and they haven't tarnished at all. As you can see, they're still in pretty good condition. And I know I'm moving fast, but if you're a beginner, what I'll do is I will freeze a frame and have it up there for a few seconds so you can take a screenshot and maybe print it out if you need to. All right, so that goes there. And now for these two, I'm going to use some head pins. Here's a bag of head pins, and these are different. These have a little round bead or ball at the end, okay? And they're very, very soft, so I can do wrap loops with these very easily. Okay, so basically you just thread them on like this. Kink it, just like before. Two to three wraps. Personal preference, it's whatever you guys like. Some people like a lot of wraps. That's a design decision that you're going to have to make, okay? Everybody's different. I don't like more than 2 or 3 wraps. That's just my personal preference. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and assemble this. Very easy. So let's get the leaf bead and we'll open it up. Now take a look at your jump rings, okay? This is important, okay? Because you want to make sure that you hang it on the right side of the jump ring. Let me put it down. It needs to go on this side, okay? It cannot go on this side. So let's go ahead and pick it up, put it on the correct side, and close it up. If you're advanced, you know what I'm talking about. If you're a beginner, you may not know, okay? But you will find out when you put it on and it doesn't hang right that it's not on the correct side of the jump ring. next one's going to be the electroplated bead. And that's just going to hang on the end of this leaf bead. And then on the other end of the electroplated bead, we hang the green bead that we just wrapped. Okay, so we have that done. And now we're going to do this side, very easy. Okay, so those dangles are done. It's looking pretty nice so far. I'm liking it. So now we're going to hang two more, one on each side. And I think I'm going to use this silver spacer bead and this orange bead to balance it out. Same thing on this side. Something like that. I feel pretty confident using simple loops when I use these pins because they're pretty strong. So if they were softer, I wouldn't feel so confident, but they're pretty strong, so I'm not too worried about them opening up or anything like that. As long as your loops are closed, that's important, okay? All right, so that's that side, and now let's do the other side. And now the little orange bead, and I will use this ball eye pin for it. And again, since the wire is thinner and softer, I can do a wrap loop. That's that side, and now let's do the other side. All right, so let's go ahead and attach it. Take a look at your jump rings and go ahead and open up the loop. What I think I'll do is I'll attach the green dangle to this first to make it easier. Or not the green dangle, the orange dangle. And now I'll open up the other end and attach that to the bottom of this jump ring. Just like that. Very easy. Same thing on this side. And we're almost done, guys. Look how quick that was. And I love how this looks. It's so beautiful. Okay, let's measure this necklace and see how much chain we need. Looks like it's 8 inches and I want a 16-inch necklace, so that means that I need 4 inches of chain on either side. And you know, the clasp and everything adds a little bit more, but I'm not too concerned about that. I'm just going to go ahead and measure 4 inches. Alright, so here are my 2 pieces of chain, and I've attached a lobster claw clasp at one end using a 5mm jump ring, and I used another 5mm jump ring at the other end. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is attach the chain to the necklace, and I already have this loop set up, so I'm just going to go ahead and slip the last link just like this. Slip it into the loop. Alright, so this is what it looks like, okay, for those of you who are beginners. And then you're going to grab the loop of your wire, just like that, and then with the second set of pliers, do a couple of wraps. Now, if you don't want any of that pin showing, of course, you'll do more than a couple. But again, like I said earlier, it's personal preference. And then snip the excess off. And definitely squash down any sharp bit. Okay, you don't want anything sharp up against your skin. And you want to make sure that loop is nicely closed so that the chain doesn't slip out of that gap, if there's a gap. Okay, so that side is done, and now we'll do the same thing on this end. Take your chain and insert the wire through the last link of your chain like this. Push it into the loop. Grab the loop with some pliers and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess, tuck it in, and that's it, guys. How easy is that? And of course, if you want to do an extender, you can. It's up to you. I usually don't do extenders unless the customer requests an extender. But you know, 16 inches is a nice length. It sits at the collarbone, maybe a little bit above. But you know, if you want something longer, obviously you have to do more than 4 inches. Or you know, it depends on your beads. If your beads are smaller, you'll need more chain. But here's the necklace, guys. Isn't that pretty? I love the colors. And it looks beautiful. It's a beautiful design. So I'm going to go ahead and set it down and then do a frame freeze so you guys can take a snapshot. And then I will leave a list of all the beads that I used and the dimensions in the description down below. All right, so let me go ahead and put this necklace on and I'll come back and say goodbye. I really like this necklace. I love this style. I know not everybody likes this style, but you know what? Take the design and customize it. Scale it down if you want to. Use different size beads, different colors, different shapes. You can totally customize it to fit your taste. Anyway, guys, whether you're a beginner or whether you're advanced, I appreciate you watching my video. Thank you so much, and thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't done it, think about doing so. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. I am looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.